Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel, and I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today we are going to discuss a very important development that took place in the United States Congress. Two congressmen, Representative Chabot and Representative Khanna, yes, Mr. Ro Khanna, they both have signed on a resolution that recognizes that recognizes the 1971 Bangladesh genocide. In fact, I have the resolution in front of me. I'm going to read it out in just a few minutes so you guys can get an idea of how strongly it is worded. And before I do that, I want to invite our guests of the evening. First, 𝙒𝙗𝙤𝙤𝙤, and then as soon as I possibly can, I'll have Priya Saha also. Let's first welcome 𝙒𝙗𝙤𝙤𝙤. 𝙒𝙗, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar, Sri, and it's a wonderful day for people in the Indian subcontinent. Everybody, not just people of Bangladesh, but for everybody who cares, a big day for them.
Yes, indeed. And Utsav, this has been something in the making for a long time. In fact, as soon as Priya joined, you will know a little bit about her, viewers. Well, she has been, she has been said that she'll be tried for sedition in Bangladesh because she met with President Donald Trump a few years ago in the White House and said that the minorities are being persecuted in Bangladesh. And that kicked up a big storm. This is just one meeting. I mean, if that is, you are going to be trying one person for meeting and calling for sedition, I think in India there'll be like what, 100 crores? So it just shows you the level of democracy in some countries. Anyway, I'm just making fun of it. So Priya Saha is the executive director of Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minorities. She and the Ohio chapter of Hindu Pact worked day and night tirelessly to bring about the wording and to impress upon the two congressmen the importance of this genocide. In fact, as I read this thing, you will start seeing what kind of a role that the United States government played in the United States and what their consulate was seeing in Bangladesh. First, I would like 𝙒𝙗 to give an opening statement, and then I'll start reading the resolution, and hopefully Priya will join us very soon. She's on her way. 𝙒𝙗, take it away.
Thank you, Sri. And Priya just texted back saying she has been traveling since yesterday, and I really reached her at the last moment, so she could not change her travel plans. So she should be joining soon. But before she joins, I would like to first of all thank Congressman Steve Chabot and Ro Khanna, Congressman Ro Khanna. And this is unique because Congressman Chabot represents the Republican Party and the conservative point of view. Ro Khanna represents the left and left of center point of view in the Democratic Party. For both sides, putting aside their ideological differences, putting aside their American divide, to come together to recognize one of the largest genocides in the 20th century that has still remained unrecognized. Now, close to 3 million people, majority of whom were Hindus, were killed over a period of 9 months. And as Priya, when she joins, she would talk more about it. She has family members who were killed in this. And there are thousands and thousands of Bangladeshi community members I know whose family members were killed. Many of them didn't even know where their bodies lay. And that is the tragedy of this genocide. 50 years passed and nobody talked about it. Most people in India did not know the truth of how the scale of the genocide that happened. I mean, I grew up not knowing. I'm a Bengali, and my extended family were people who were living in undivided East Pakistan or Bangladesh, and they migrated in 1947. But nobody talks about it. There were close to 10 million refugees in what is present-day Bengal. It's a very small state for those of you who are aware of the map of India. And nobody there still talks about it. So it's very important that the Capitol Hill, which is the august body of American legislation, finally took this up. And I am very proud that the Hindu Pact chapter in Cincinnati, which is where Congressman Steve Chabot comes from, they relentlessly worked on it. I mean, I have to name Renu Gupta, who is the chapter lead there, Amulya Tyagi, people like them, silent workers, grassroots activists in the Hindu American community, uh, they spent a year sensitizing lawmakers, sensitizing Congressman Chabot about what happened. It took a lot of effort because, it's very easy for, and I want to say this very, very clearly to our audience, a lot of people make claims about the historic relevance of the genocides that Hindus have faced. But to make that claim and to provide evidence, first person, original source evidence that corroborates all those details, it's a lot of work. And I have to congratulate the Hindu Pact chapter in Ohio for taking care of this, and most importantly, as Priya, when she joins, Priya herself, for doing this. So this is one of the greatest events, I must say, in the history of American Hindu community, and it has a long term implication in the geopolitics of the region, in subcontinent.
So now let's take a look at the resolution. It's 8 pages long, but I'm going to try and pick the more important passages so you guys get an idea of what this resolution is covering. And it's covering extensive documentation about how the United States was looking at this thing. That's the part that I'm really happy about, because here there is a senator from the United States, Ted Kennedy. And let me just read this thing for you. So the first two paragraphs are, essentially the intro from 1947, whereas West Pakistani officials harbored well-documented anti-Bengali sentiment, considering Bengalis to be, let me change the pages, thank you, to be lesser people or people group that has been corrupted by un-Islamic practices. Whereas during elections held in 1970, this is where the thing starts becoming a problem. The Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was a majority in parliament on a platform of anatomy for East Pakistan. Whereas negotiations to form a government between Pakistani President General Agha Muhammad Yahya Khan and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, leader of the Pakistan People's Party, and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman failed. Whereas at a meeting on 22nd February 1971, General Yahya Khan is recorded. This is the important point. That's what moves heaven and earth. Recorded as saying to his top military brass, "Kill 3 million of them and the rest will eat out of our hands." Whereas on the night of March 25th, 1971, the government of Pakistan imprisoned Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Pakistani military units in conjunction with radical Islamist groups, began a general crackdown throughout East Pakistan, codenamed Operation Searchlight, that involved widespread massacres of civilians. Whereas atrocities continued during the ensuing 9-month Bangladesh War of Independence, as the Pakistani militancy or military scapegoated ethnic Bengalis and Hindus and targeted supporters of the Awami League, Bengali military or police personnel, intellectuals, students, and professionals, while victims included members of both majority Bengali Muslims and minority non-Muslims communities. Whereas the genocide against ethnic Bengalis and Hindus is one of the forgotten genocides of the 20th century, and its lack of recognition remains an open wound for millions of people who were directly affected by the atrocities. Whereas estimates of the number of those killed in these atrocities vary, with the government of Bangladesh estimating that 3 million persons were killed. This is a government number. Whereas over 200,000 women were raped, and due to stigma, the full number of likely will never be known, nor the victims remembered. Whereas as a result of the atrocities and the war, nearly 10 million refugees fled to India, and countless others, up to 60% or 50% of Bangladesh's population was internally displaced. What this is also important. Somebody thinks that some other part of Bangladesh is safer, or then it was East Pakistan. So they just completely let go of their land, their records, and everything, and flee for their lives. Then there's no going back. Somebody else comes in and sits there, squat. So this is what we are recognizing here. Whereas in a seminal column on June 13th, 1971, for the Sunday Times titled Genocide, journalist Anthony Mascarenhas wrote, "It seems clear that the sorting out began to be planned about the time that Lieutenant General Tikka Khan took over the governorship of East Bengal, and continues when the army units fanned out in Dhaka on the evening of March 25th in preemptive strikes against the mutiny planned for the small hours of the next morning. Many of them carried lists of people to be liquidated. These included the Hindus and large numbers of Muslims, students, Awami Leaguers, professors, journalists, and those who had been prominent in Sheikh Mujib's movement." Whereas on March 28, 1971, the United States Consul General in Dhaka, Archer Blood, sent a telegram to Washington titled Selective Genocide, in which he wrote, "Moreover, with support of the Pak military, non-Bengali Muslims were systematically attacking poor people's quarters and murdering Bengalis and Hindus. Streets of Dhaka were a flood with Hindus and others seeking to get out of Dhaka. Many Bengalis have sought refuge in homes of Americans. Most of them are extending shelter." On 6th April 1971, in what became known as the Blood Telegram, Consul General Blood sent by way of the State Department's dissent channel an objection to the official United States government silence on the conflict, signed by 20 members of the United States diplomatic staff of the Consulate General Dhaka, which reads in part, "But we have chosen not to intervene, even morally, on the grounds that the Awami conflict, in which unfortunately the overworked term genocide is applicable, is purely internal matter of a sovereign state. Private Americans have expressed disgust, and in which objection Blood concurs, saying, I believe the views of those officers who are among the finest US officials in East Pakistan are echoed by the vast majority of the American community, both official and unofficial. I also subscribe to these views, but I don't think it is appropriate for me to sign their statement as long as I am principal officer at this post." So you can see that the consulate in the United States, consulate of United States in Dhaka, is telling them, it is actually screaming at them, listen, Hindus are being selectively targeted and killed. And he has sent an official cable. He's also said what the consul people, the consul officers and others are feeling. And yet the US government did nothing. At this point, Utsav, I would like you to come in, because after this, there is a paragraph where we can see the involvement of Ted Kennedy also expressing outrage at what had taken place. But for Mascarenhas's story, which he had to actually smuggle his family out of Pakistan and himself out of Pakistan, come to London, and then the story got published the next day. He arrived in London, his family came before, he actually couldn't leave with the family, he had to take a bus or something to Peshawar, then he actually smuggled himself out into Afghanistan. A thrilling story in itself. I mean, this is the seriousness. There were 8 journalists who were taken by the Pakistani army from the west and taken to East Pakistan to show how they were taking care of the troubles of Awami League, and the other 7 said nothing. Only Mascarenhas captured the truth the way it was. So, Utsav, anything you would like to add about what happened after that? I mean, I don't think America ever expressed remorse for what it did, right? Or didn't do?
So this is a very good point you brought up, Shri. As you can see from the resolution, there was a series of efforts being made by American diplomats Uh, and the State Department was fully aware about the scale of what was happening, and also aware about the fact that there was a special effort being made to specifically target Hindus. If you read through the resolution, which you will, every paragraph literally contains at least one phrase or one sentence quoting contemporary primary sources, which says Hindus were specifically targeted. And it also clearly points out the scale, which is close to 3 million people. So these are the key factors that this resolution points out, and US was fully aware of it at that time. Going forward, you will see how Senator Ted Kennedy actually put it on record in his Senate Judiciary Committee report. And there is a phrase you will see from there. But what you are seeing today is a belated acknowledgement that never happened from the US side, neither under the Democrats nor under the Republicans. This belated acknowledgement at this scale is very important. And that is why I say that this is a historic resolution to begin with, because it acknowledges for the first time from the formal US leadership, political leadership, that wrongs were done, US made mistakes, and a genocide actually happened. So that's why it is so critical.
So viewers, I did read through the entire document a couple of times just to understand the import. And also you should read that article by Mascarenas. It's bone chilling. We will put the link to that also. And it is just, the ways in which Hindus were hounded. I mean, there is an obvious way to determine if a man is a Hindu or not. I don't have to give you the explanation. And this was done time in and time again. And there were houses marked in yellow paint, H, to say these were the houses that needed to be targeted. And I don't think there was a segregated community in East Pakistan. People used to live side by side. Most Hindus were either farmers or businessmen, I believe. I remember reading that article. It was very, very, gut-wrenching. And even Indira Gandhi got moved by that article. The whole world got moved by that article. Anyway, let's go to the section
Hindus were educators. See, one of the reasons the Pakistani army really wanted to exterminate the Hindus is because they were thought leaders and educators. So Dhaka University professors, writers, and because Hindus occupied that space very significantly, Pakistan almost wanted it as a rule, because once you have the power to impress people with your words, with education, with knowledge, that's what Pakistani government felt was the biggest impediment towards the radicalization of the East Pakistani population. When you speak about your own history from a Hindu perspective, the Pakistani is unable to convince the average Bengali Muslim why it is important to be radicalized. So that was their biggest impediment going into 1971.
I'm just going to skip to the part whereas Senator Edward M. Kennedy, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee's subcommittee to investigate the problems connected with refugees and escapes, published a report to the committee on November 1, 1971, which states nothing is more clear or more easily documented than the systematic campaign of terror and its genocidal consequences launched by the Pakistan Army on the night of March 25th. Field reports in the US government, countless eyewitness journalist account, reports of international agencies such as the World Bank, and additional information available to the subcommittee document the continuing reign of terror which grips East Bengal. Hardest hit have been members of the Hindu community who have been robbed of their lands and shops, systematically slaughtered, and in some cases painted with yellow patches marked H. All of this has been officially sanctioned, ordered, and implemented under martial law from Islamabad. I mean, this is an American report. Pakistan will not be able to wash this off. They are really on the hook on this one. And I really don't know the path this HR is going to take, because elections, midterms are coming up almost immediately. So let us take a look at that part on the political implications on whether this will get passed in the limited time that is left in this particular session. Utsav, any thoughts?
So, the real importance of this resolution is that before elections, you will see lawmakers co-sponsoring it, because lawmakers want to be on the right side of history, especially before elections. So they will be eager to co-sponsor it, and you can see it from the way this resolution was brought in, to have a lawmaker from the extreme left and to have a lawmaker from the conservative side join hands to bring this, shows and sends a message to lawmakers that this needs co-sponsorship from across the ideological spectrum in American Congress. Whether it will pass before elections is a question that is up in the air. But one thing is for sure: once a resolution is introduced, once it receives the warm welcome that this one is receiving, and once it finds co-sponsors, it will be brought again. And that is the important part, because if this resolution is brought again in January, then there is a very high likelihood, because those who co-sponsor it now will continue to co-sponsor it as they come back in the new Congress. And that is very critical, because this is the beginning of an energy and an effort that will eventually lead to the recognition of this genocide formally by the President of the United States. Now, this has happened in the past with the Armenian genocide, and it took the Armenians about 10 years. I do not think it will take us that long, because I can see the Hindu community just banding together, and more importantly, everybody acknowledging it to this degree. I haven't even seen a formal Pakistani government rebuttal of this. Like the Turkish government usually rebuts immediately, but the facts are so out there and so aggressively truthful, and sourced from so many different sources from different political spectrums, that I do not think Pakistan will even have the guts to oppose this. And I will talk about this later on, about what implications it has for current individuals and going forward, because this is not just about what happened 50 years ago. This is about what is happening now and what will happen in the future, because it's very much connected, and I wanted to talk about that.
Yes, we will try that. In the meantime, viewers, could you please like this video? I'd like to see many more watching this. For the first time in my living memory, there is so much effort has been put in to make the United States congressmen and women and other members be aware of something that you and I perhaps knew. But again, we didn't know. It was sketchy. There was only radio. There was only one station, All India Radio, and you just heard that, and they didn't really say all these things. They just said atrocities were going on. All we knew around, I think, April 1971 was that India was welcoming a lot of refugees, that the refugee camps were being set up, and that every person, on every purchase they did of everything, they gave a 5 paisa extra called Bangladesh Refugee Fund. And I don't know. You see, those days there were no computers, so I don't know how much actually went towards the refugees' rehabilitation and how much got swallowed along the way. But that was how it was. It was, and in 15 days the war was over. They said 93,000 soldiers surrendered. India won. A new nation is born. But the aftermath, the Shimla talks, why India decided to give away so much, having suffered so much. I have really no clue. I mean, if you listen to Tariq Fatah, he just takes Indira Gandhi to task for just falling to the charms of Benazir Bhutto. Anyway, that's his impressions. Let's get back to the point here. Utsav, while we wait for Priya, why don't we just continue talking, because there is also more things that came out in this resolution. I think resolution, you guys can read it. I've read the salient parts. So let's get to discussing this. The importance of a resolution like this, where there is a tome of proof, that is the important thing. And I can't tell you what is coming right around the corner, something that happened within the contours of India. But let us wait for that for a different day. Today we are talking about the Bangladesh genocide. Utsav, you wanted to add some more things. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So Sri, I wanted to highlight the reasons why this is relevant today. I'll give you two examples. There is one individual in UK, the founder of the largest Muslim community organization in UK, who is directly, his name is Chaudhry Moinuddin, and he's in, Muslim Council of Britain is the organization. He's connected to the Leicester riots, recent riots that has been discussed. You have talked about it. You have gone into the details of it. So he is one of the convicted war criminals from 1971. So there are a lot of people who have asked, who asked this question, and well-meaning people who ask this question. Okay, this happened 50 years ago. How does it affect people now? How does it affect the geopolitics of the region now? So for those people, I have a couple of points to make, and they need to think about how this works out. Number one, both in UK and in US, the top Islamist organizations in UK, it is the groups like Muslim Council of Britain, and in US it's organizations that are connected to 𝗤𝙗𝘗𝑖𝑠𝑙𝑎𝑚𝑖, like Islamic Circle of North America. Their leadership has directly been accused of being part of the genocide. The government of Bangladesh, which by no means is a Hindu government, has accused them of being involved in genocide, has the evidence, and they have been convicted. So any organization that is operating again and spreading Hinduphobia today in America, they have these convicted criminals as part of their leadership, or used to have. I mean, some of them have been forced to resign, but they're very much part of their network. So that is very important, because Hinduphobia is not going away anywhere. It's there every day, and you have discussed in length about it. So that's number one. It needs to be highlighted. Number two, what is important is that the Pakistani army remains one of the most powerful supporters of terrorism in the region, and actually around the world. I mean, even in September 11 had some level of Pakistani army approval because of the way they were supporting Al-Qaeda, and continued to support Al-Qaeda until 2008. So the Pakistani army needs to be exposed and held responsible formally for this genocide, because there are multiple unilateral and multilateral agencies that have the ability to act retroactively to address and sanction leadership of the Pakistani army based on the acceptance of this genocide. So, you should not have Pakistani army generals be able to buy land in UK, buy properties in America, send their kids to universities here, because it's an army that is involved in genocide. So those are some of the issues that technically has the ability to expose one of the most powerful forces of disruption in that region and around the world. And that is why it is important. People do not understand why this is going to affect the future as well. And also, even today in Bangladesh, a lot of violence is happening that targets members of the Hindu community. Every year during Durga Puja, we have these issues, and it is not, it is not something that can go away easily. But what this sends as a message to those people is that if Islamists who did crimes 50 years ago can be held responsible in 50 years' time for the crimes they committed, if you are committing crimes today in Bangladesh or any other parts of the world, you will be held responsible. The Hindu community does not forget or forgive. And that is a very important and clear message that needs to go out.
𝙒𝙗𝘗𝑗, to add to what you just said, recently the Prime Minister of Bangladesh was in India. And you know what she did? She expressed concern for the treatment of minorities in India. I mean, I've never seen this kind of duplicity. Did she ever say that there are many Hindus who need protection? Did she acknowledge what was happening? This was in an ANI news interview. And I was shocked that the ANI news reporter didn't put her on the mat and ask her what has been happening during Durga Pujas. Why can't they have a yogi model of government? When somebody attacks somebody else's property, they have to pay for the damages from their own property. I mean, this is high time. And I also didn't like the fact that one of the ministers in Karnataka government said, if you don't behave, this is to the members of the minority community, we'll bring yogi model. God damn it, the yogi model should be there in all over India. Today, I'm screaming about something that is happening in Kerala. 873 officers had a WhatsApp group called Green Light. And in this, they were talking all about aiding PFI. And these people have not been sacked. Not yet. NIA has given the details to the DGP of Kerala. And Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, whose son-in-law is alleged to be also, he's by the way an Islam, he's a Muslim, he's alleged to have PFI contacts. He's slow walking it. I mean, Hindus have to get angry, guys. I mean, Utsav and I, we are fighting battles for you. I mean, in the hope that you guys will start lining up and start setting some of these things right. Anyway, we still haven't got Priya yet. Utsav, do you mind taking a quick check to see if she can join? Because
Yes.
you're already 30 minutes into the program. Go ahead, I'll mute you. So this is the larger picture, guys. Today, if you listen to Tariq Fateh's, he comes on Jaipur Dialogues, he comes on Arzu Kazmi's program, he will tell you that the Pakistani generals who retire from Pakistan, they have very beautiful state-of-the-art enclaves in Pakistan, and then with their blood money, they go and settle in 3 or 4 countries: Dubai, United Kingdom, United States, or Canada. These are the 4 countries that they choose. And I'm told that they have built the same kind of enclaves, very royal, have their own golf course. I mean, the thing about all this is if you earn that money, that's one thing. But if you did not, and if it is because of killing so many people, and can you imagine now any one Bangladeshi refugee going back to Bangladesh? Himanta Biswa Sharma tried to send 5, and 10,000 turned up on the border to stop that. He had to call in the army to actually send those 5, just so the government could say we deported illegals. So, Utsav, do you have an update?
Unfortunately, I don't think she isn't will be able to join. I think she hasn't been able to respond. She, as I said, she has been traveling. She was traveling to a different city, and
Yeah.
I think she's probably still in the cab, or still she hasn't reached home, and she hasn't been able to pick up my phone. So I am my apologies. I'm trying to get her, but I don't have
Yeah.
a response.
There are a few questions, I think. So, if you have any questions now, we can take those questions. Nagarajan Srinivasan wants to know, how could the US take up this issue when it was known as partner in crime, harboring Pakistan? The entire West took the side of Pakistan. You have to go back and read history, but go ahead, Utsav. You want to take the
So,
answer?
the if you see the resolution, as she pointed out and read it, large part of it, the resolution acknowledges that there was mistakes made by the United States. The resolution acknowledges that there were leadership within the United States at the diplomatic level as well as at the congressional level, Senator Ted Kennedy as well as Archer Blood and his entire staff, as well as the US ambassador to India, who went on record even at that time opposing and publicly saying that this is not right on the part of the US. So US did make a mistake. US acknowledges it, and that's a progressively positive step, I must say. So Nagarajanji, it is not perfect, but in the world of diplomacy and statecraft, you have to make incremental gains and get the right message out.
Harry IITM says, and what about the Hindu genocide in Pakistan itself? US is a partner in crime against Hindus. They hate Hindus and don't care if we die. Harry, I don't agree with that. We are Indians and Hindus are very well respected in the United States. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Utsav, you can give a more nuanced answer.
So it is absolutely true that there is the Hindu genocide has happened in what is West Pakistan today, or what is Pakistan today. It continues to happen every day. I don't know if you have seen me speak on that before, but every day 3 Hindu girls, Hindu and Sikh girls, are forcibly converted to Islam, kidnapped, raped, married off. So that is absolutely true. How much can the US change that? The US can influence that and change that. Is it doing it? Maybe not enough. Do we have a responsibility to push this? Absolutely. So it is our responsibilities as Hindus, wherever we are in this world, to keep hammering the facts, keep hammering the truth, and engage with your leadership wherever you are to push this forward, because at the end of the day, especially in democracies, your voice matters.
Kim Jong Sharma wants to know, why do present day Bangladeshis hate India?
So I would not fully agree with this statement. There is Bangladesh is more than 85% Muslim, as you know by now. The population of Hindus have declined there over the last couple of decades. There are significant portions of the population in Bangladesh, irrespective of their political affiliation, that are radicalized, that are Islamists. Uh, there is also a very good chance that if you are radicalized and if you are an Islamist, you will hate Hindus, and you will likely hate India. That doesn't mean that everybody in Bangladesh hates India. So I think it's a very generic term to use, saying that why do present day Bangladeshis hate India? But I do acknowledge that a lot of people do. And Priya Sahai is here. Shri Bhai,
Namaste.
uh, the the heroine of the occasion, the mover and shaker of the resolution that I was filling up for so far. So please go ahead.
Namaskar, Priya
Thank
ji.
you.
Welcome to our channel.
Namaste.
Just a quick introduction about Priya ji. She is the Executive Director of Human Rights Congress for Bangladeshi Minorities, and she has been at the forefront of this battle. In fact, she, I guess, rubbed the Bangladeshi government the wrong way when she met President Donald Trump in the White House a few years ago. So, before I twist the history, Priyaji, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and your family? And I think our viewers would love to hear from you. Please take it away.
Uh, Thank you for giving me this opportunity to your channel and talk with the community. It's a great opportunity to be here today, and we are joining with joy, with tears, with many more things. We are trying. It's 51 years to get this thing up to this point. I am from Bangladesh. I used to work as a human rights activist. I was the executive director of a human rights organization in Bangladesh. It's a national level organization. You can say it's a size is mid-level size. It was in Dhaka office, and I used to publish on newspaper in Bengali language. It's called Dalit Kantho, and another the journal, the Bangladesh Journal of Minority. At the same time, I worked with Hindu, Buddhist, Christian Unity Council, the Central Committee, as a organizing secretary for many years. I worked with Bangladesh Puja Ujjapon Porishad. This organization work across the country, and I was the executive member of that organization too. At the same, because I worked with the minority community, the religious minority community, the indigenous people, at the same time with a non-profit organization, and to make the news published, I have to work with the newspaper, because what I my experience is, when we work continuously and try to publish our news, whether from Hindu, Buddhist, Christian Unity Council, or Puja Ujjam Porishad, or human rights organization, it's very hard to get a little space to publish our news. And for the religion minority, and we have a lot of uh, underprivileged Dalit community in our country. But in Bangladeshi constitution, the Dalit are not recognized, so they are not getting any type of opportunity. Mostly they are excluded from government development process. So I used to work for them. So to publish their news, I we started a newspaper called Dalit Kantho. It's a government registered paper and journal of minority. So Bangladeshi people now know who are the Dalit, who are the poorest of the poor, and how they need to take care. And I'm happy to say that through my movement and some of our friends, the Bangladesh government now have some budget for the Dalit and the underprivileged community. So we have a great success for in that area, working for the poorest of the poor community, and for the religion minority community, the oppressed community in Bangladesh. And now the things is moving different way. because 75 years together, the persecution is going on against us, against the religion minority. You know that in Bangladesh, the religion minority community are Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, and some other indigenous community. They mostly from this community, but some of them, they do not have that much strong belief. Yeah, that's I used to work.
So, Priyaji, walk us through what happened when you went to meet President Donald Trump, because then you came to United States to meet with President Donald Trump, and this created a furore, especially the group that you mentioned about Buddhists, Christians, and others. They themselves said you said these statements in your personal capacity. They kind of distanced themselves from you. Talk to us a little bit about what happened then.
Yeah, maybe you have idea about Bangladesh and Pakistan. Uh, People, we do not have that much freedom of speech. So religion minority community are continuously persecuted there. I wish to give some statistics. During the partition, the population size was 29.3% the non-Muslim. Now a day has come, it's only less than 9%, say 9%. And what other thing, when the country was independent in 1971, before the census, the 1961, the Hindu population was 18.5%. After the liberation war, the census take place in 1975, and sorry, 1974. In 1974, the Hindu population decreased 5%. It's come down 13.5 from 18.5. And according to the Indian refugee document, we know the during from 1961 to 1970, 1.3 million people from Bangladesh, the religion minority people, take shelter in India. And this 5% means um, 3.8 million people. So if we deduct 3.8 million to 1.1 million, so absolutely you are getting a figure. 2.7 million Hindu people were murdered during the 1970 war, and Pakistani army just started killing us on 25th March on a non-Muslim, the Hindu dormitory, Jagannath Hall. It called, they started the Operation Searchlight.
Searchlight, right?
Yeah, in Searchlight, they start killing um, mostly Hindu, and the old Dhaka, all the Hindu area they attacked. They attacked, the police headquarter and border security force headquarter, and Dhaka University, and the girls' host dormitory, and the non-Muslim dormitory. So that was their target. And why I am talking this history, because um, Bangladesh, the organization, the Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council. Yes, when I came USA, they know I am coming USA, but they didn't send me. I came here with my own capacity. Yes, I talked by my capacity. That's true, but they do not have any option. They have to expel me. Otherwise, they have to face the consequences. And you understand, not only this Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council, many government organization, the Buddhist Federation, the Christian organization, the government institution, Hindu Kullan Trust is a government project. Buddhist Kullan Trust, it's a government project. Christian Kullan Trust, another government project. These three organizations sit together and have a press conference against me. So you can easily understand why Hindu, Buddhist, Christian Unity Council expel me, they disown me, because I don't see any problem, because they have to survive. They have their right
I
to
understand.
survive.
Yeah, right, right. Well, that is really sad, but the numbers that you're saying is very, very compelling. So this 2.93 million that we mentioned, Utsav, is perhaps on the lower end because there is population increase also over the period of so many years, and that growth, if you factor that in, then the number starts adding up. So, uh, Priyaji, you talk to us a little bit about the effort that went into to convince Senator Chabot of the importance of passing this resolution. Please go ahead.
Uh, for this resolution come forward, I want to first salute my community full of people in Ohio, Cincinnati. They work a huge. Continuously, we prepared a resolution and many documents. We shared with them, and these people, they worked hard to convince this congressman. And congressman, he is a senior person. He know the history. At the same time, he is the co-chair of Bangladesh caucus. So he has all this idea and information. And when he got connection from our community, from people from that area, and the Hindu Pact, the local chapter, then they convinced and they worked hard, and they convinced Steve Chabot. At the same time, we shared our document. The genocide 1971, it's a well documented genocide. You can get thousand news clipping in from across the world. At the same time, you will get the video clipping, and from US Senate, we produced the Ted Kennedy report, the Archer Blood report, and Anthony Mascarenhas report. So we pull out all this information and the refugee report from Indian document, and so it's a well documented genocide. And when we pull out all these document and shared with them, their staffer and all these people, they worked hard, and they find, okay, it's a concrete genocide. It's not, no, there is no more word. They cannot minimize word to call it except genocide or any other thing. So when they got all this information and community people, connection, they convinced and they worked for it.
Thank you very much, Priyaji. And if there are any questions for Priyaji, can we take them now? Let me see. I don't. Yeah, there is one. So SC wants to know, please explain to Hindu Americans they should talk to their lawmakers to co-sponsor resolution bringing Pakistan accountability for unspeakable violence against Hindus in India and Bangladesh. Sri Durga. This is something like it's more like a request for all people who vote in the United States elections to start doing a little bit, forwarding this video, for example. We have Priyaji on record here explaining what work she had to do. And like she said, there's tomes of documentation available. So it should be fairly easy for you to get your local congressman slash woman to sign up for passing this resolution. I'm very hopeful. Certainly, 𝙒𝙗𝙗, represents one of the constituencies that's very close to me, and I'm going to try and see what I can do to convince my own congresswoman to sign on to this. So that's where that stands. Next question from Magnet Ranga. Great job done. How much of help did you get from the government of India? How can the government of India take this forward? This is for Priyaji.
Oh my God, how can I explain this thing? The just inverse the population size. The India, the Hindu community, Hindu, Jain, Buddhist, Sikh, and the other community, and Muslim community, say just inverse India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. If India has, say, 100, sorry, 100 crore Hindu Muslim, do you think any people dare to talk against their same people in Bangladesh or in Pakistan? No, we never, generally we didn't get the support to bring this resolution or save our life in Bangladesh. We do not know of the record what they are doing, but generally in forefront we never get their support. And my request to you, please, would you please start a campaigning with Indian government. So what happened in Bangladesh, the genocide, so that Indian government can take a resolution in Indian parliament. And why we are not working with Bhutan, Nepal, Europe, and all other countries? So if Indian government is a best democratic country in the world and huge population. So if India take this resolution as a genocide, so it means a lot. So we request, please do that, and Indian government can do a lot for us in UN. And here, my request to all policymakers, please, now day has come, help us so that we can get justice from the world people, from the humanitarian people, and we can survive nicely in my country. And I want to request all of the humanitarian people, not only my community people, not only India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, this regional people, I want to call the whole world humanitarian people, please be with us, talk with your local congressman. We are here to provide all types of information, and so that you can talk with your local government and congressman, and they so that they can co-sign this resolution, and this resolution can be passed very soon. And I want to thank Steve Chabot and his all staff, a team. They worked a lot, um, especially Mark and Rokhannaji office, and he co-sponsor. So my salute to all of them. And as a survivor, how can I show my gratitude to them? I don't know. I want to just tell something, just 1 2 minute. What happened in 1971 in Bangladesh? They burned village after village. They targeted Hindu everywhere. The the local, the mullah, the madrasa student and madrasa teacher, and Jamaat Islami, Al Badr, Al Sams, and they make a committee called Peace Committee. And this committee people, the Islamist group, make a peace committee. That's all together. They show, they burned the Hindu villages, they looted, they raped, they taken everything, and they taken the Hindu woman and Hindu girl to the army cantonment. And can nobody can say no, not a single Muslim village were burned. Some, yeah, I could remember with respect our father of nation, Bangabandhu, home was burned, but they cannot tell the Muslim village were burned or a single mosque were burned or vandalized, but they burned village after village. Hindu raped the Hindu girl, take in the barrack, and they looted everything and displaced all of us. At the same time, I want to give a new information to you. It's not new, but we didn't tell about that. To cover or to save these genocide committed people, our government sent thousand rape victim women to the world and the word child, so that these women cannot be a witness. They just lost everything and they are living where they are living, how they are living, we don't know that. But our government sent many thousand girls and women across the world. I remember all of my, those people lost their life. This is our last tribute to them who were murdered, raped, displaced, and lost everything. My tribute to them from my side. Thank you so much.
Sorry to put you through this, Priyaji. I can understand. There were, what was the fault of all these poor Hindus? Why is it that West Pakistan could not accept the people's verdict? So, see, the problem was something else, but the anger was taken out at somebody else. For that reason alone, I would like to see Pakistan being punished in the strictest of ways. There's nothing that stops the United States from confiscating a lot of the property that is sitting in US, probably, who
Yep.
of people who are descendants of all these people. US can find this out in a flat. They have all the software and all the data. Everybody knows where all these things are hidden. Anyway, so let's go to the next question. Before I go to the next question, Utsav, do you have something to add?
No, I think Priyadi put it very nicely and very succinctly. I would, we should go forward to the next question. I think she did a fantastic job explaining.
Devbrat Bhaduri wants to know, what was the reason that Hindu militias could not be armed by influential Hindus in West Bengal? Now too much water has flown through the Ganges and Brahmaputra, and US only muddies the situation.
I wanted to say something about it, if I could.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I want to tell Devbrat Bhaduri that it is never too late to recognize a genocide, because what the people who conducted the genocide in 1971, especially the Jamaat-e-Islami and its radicalized militias in conjunction with the Pakistani army, are still in Bangladesh. They are still operating very aggressively. They still target Hindus there. So as I explained a couple of minutes ago, Devbrat, that this is important to get recognized at a global level. It is important that the people who did this genocide and who are still alive today are taken to task for it, because it sends a message to those who plan to do it in the future that 50 years later, we will not forget, we will not forgive. And regarding your question about what was the reason Hindu militias could not be armed by influential Hindus in West Bengal, I wasn't born 50 years ago, so I cannot say. But one thing I can say is that we will not let this happen ever again. And this is the reason why we are working on it today. This is the reason why Priya Saha went to the Congress and got this resolution in. And there was nobody who did it in the last 50 years. So there's always a beginning. But, we cannot change history, but we have to make sure it is not repeated again.
Thank you very much, Utsav. Thank you very much, Priyaji. And with that, we bring our program to a close. One more request to all the viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. And if you feel that our research was worth it, please consider donating using the super thanks button. Priyaji, Utsavji, thank you so much, and namaskar.